Hello people of YouTube, it's Deepak here, and welcome to DCS World 2.9.3 and RASBAM Simulations F-15E Strike Eagle module. Welcome to Tutorial 1, Pilot Startup. Today we're going to cover all of the necessary actions in the front seat of the F-15E Strike Eagle to get the aircraft up and running. In a separate video next, I'll show you what to do in the back seat. So today we find ourselves on the Falklands at Mount Pleasant in one of the hardened aircraft shelters, and there are of course a couple of different ways of starting up the aircraft, but I'm going to show you the standard way where you just get the engine up and running rather than using ground power, which would be an alternative method. The F-15 is kind of notable in that it doesn't have a battery, much like the F-14. So you actually don't really have any power in the cockpit until you've got the engines running. You have a GFS, which is started up from a hydraulic reservoir. There are two bottles for the GFS, so you have two attempts at getting the GFS running. It doesn't require power. And once the GFS is spinning, you can then clutch it to one of the engines and spin that. Spinning the engine with the GFS is enough to get the engine display powered, because it's just powered directly from the engine shaft. And then once you have the engine fully started and a generator turning, at that stage you actually have powered the aircraft. So let's begin with our initial scan. As is pretty much always the case, we're going to go left to right in a U-shape. So we're going to start here on the left-hand console. We're going to make sure that all of our sensor switches are off. We don't want any of these kind of high-energy consuming devices on during startup. And back here, we want to make sure that our microphone is on. This will allow us to speak to the ground crew, and it will also allow us to speak to the Wizzo, or the guy in the back. Moving forwards, we're wanting to make sure that the conformal tanks are in stop transfer position. The inlet ramps left and right are in automatic. And we also want to make sure that all three CAS channels are on: yaw, roll, and pitch. Going forwards, we're going to make sure that the gear lever is down. That could be a bit exciting if it's not. Master arm is off. And we haven't pushed in the emergency jettison. That will also be a little bit exciting. One thing to note is that we have the ability to make things like the stick and so on transparent. That's kind of cool. First click makes the stick transparent, second click makes the throttle transparent as well, and another click brings them back to normal, which is pretty cool. Round on the right hand side here, we're going to put brake hold into, well actually we can't until we have power in hydraulics, that's fine. We'll leave that off for now then. On the right hand console, we want oxygen system to on. We're going to turn on left and right generators, left and right engine controls, and JFS starter to enabled. We'll also turn on both engine masters at this start, because we're at this stage, because we're about to start the engine. We'll continue coming around. We want to make sure that all anti-ice switches are off at this stage. And that should do it. We're now ready for a GFS start. We'd let the back seater know what we're doing, and then we simply pull the GFS handle. Note that right-clicking it switches it between bottle 1, which is the upright position, and bottle 2, which is this 45-degree position. You can start the GFS with either bottle 1 or bottle 2. If bottle 1 for whatever reason fails, like for example you pull it and you actually add the starter switch in the off position, you will then have to rotate it into bottle 2 and pull again. But we're going to discharge bottle 1. And then you can hear the GFS spin up. Once the GFS is fully spun up, we'll get the ready light down here on the starter. So that means we're ready to begin an engine start. Before we do that, we're going to do a quick fire system test. If I pull the fire system switch into the down test position, I should only get the AMAD system. Before the engines are spinning, the AMAD is the only fire circuit that's operational. So let's pull this down to test.
Warning, AMAD, fire. Warning, AMAD, fire.
And that's a good test. AMAD system test is complete. So with that done, we're going to lift the finger lift for the right engine. It's about here. You'll see right throttle finger lift. Pull that up. That will connect the engine to the GFS. You can hear it spinning it up. And we're going to wait. After a short delay, we'll get the engine display up. And there we go, engine display is live. We're going to wait until the engine spins up to its maximum RPM on the GFS, which is 26%. We have that now, and with that done, we'll do our second fire system test. And this time we should get the engine left and right warnings.
Warning, AMAD, fire. Warning, AMAD, fire. Warning, engine, fire, left. Warning, engine, fire, left. Warning, engine, fire, right. Warning, engine, fire, right.
And that's a good test. We have left and right fire loops operational. So at this stage we can move the throttle from cut off to idle position, just like that. And after a short delay, the engine will be spun up and fuel will be introduced. And we can monitor all of that with the engine display here. We're also listening out for the GFS disconnecting. There we go, that was the GFS disconnect.
Low altitude.
And then we're just waiting for the engine to stabilise, but we already have power coming from the generator. So you can see that we now have warning lights and a bunch of other indicators and systems came to life. We want to confirm that the emergency boost pump is on, and that is confirmed here. And also we have low pressure in utility hydraulics and some pressure in PC2 hydraulics, nothing in PC1. That's to be expected. And the engine will stabilise at about 70%. That's great. At this point we can cancel the master caution. I'm going to turn up the UFC and I'm going to turn up the volume on UHF2, pull the preset selector to turn on UHF2 and tune to the local frequency, which is 133.350, and pop it into there. I can then press this button at the top right to flip between presets and tuned channels, and that's now done. Excellent. We're now going to do the full lights and cautions test, so I'm going to hold down lights test. And if I scan the whole cockpit, I can confirm I've got flaps, gear, fire system lights, emission limit, master caution, RWR, low alt, obstacle, terrain following fail, canopy unlocked, laser arm, autopilot, and then all the normal caution and warning lights down on the right hand side as well. So that's fully functional. We can cancel that test, and then we're also going to do another fire system test. This time we should get the afterburner burn through.
Warning, AMAD, fire. Warning, AMAD, fire. Warning, engine, fire, left. Warning, engine, fire, left. Warning, engine, fire, right. Warning, engine, fire, right. AB burn through, left. AB burn through, left. AB burn through, right. AB burn through, right.
Okay, that's a good fire system test. We're happy with all of that. So at this stage, we're going to go ahead and start the left engine. So we're going to pull the left finger lift and wait for that engine to clutch to the GFS. There it is. Up it comes. We can also turn on the brake hold at this point. You need to make sure that the brake hold is engaged before you begin INS alignment. So I like to do it at this stage. Okay, we're up at 26% on the left engine. Move it into the idle position and wait for start. Fuel's being introduced. GFS disconnects. And we have left generator warning lights out now as well. So we've got both left and right generators. The aircraft is under its own power. Let's go ahead and make sure that we turn on... Actually, I'll close the canopy so I can see it. We need to make sure we turn on the air conditioning to auto, because we have a warning about our avionics not having flow. That now goes out. We can now lock the canopy, and that means the canopy warning will go out as well. Okay, at this stage, I'm actually going to make the stick transparent. We can go ahead and turn on the MPDs and the MPCD. We can... Oh, UFC is already fully up. HUD can go fully up. And those are all functioning normally. That looks good. Down on the left-hand side, we can now turn the conformal tanks to normal. They can now be used for feeding. Let's look at the sensors panel and go ahead and get our sensors ready. So terrain following can go to standby. radar altimeter can go to on, radar to standby, nav FLIR to standby. INS, you have the option of a stored heading alignment or a full alignment. If we take a little look at our knee board, we can see that stored heading align is ready. The aircraft has not been moved since the last time it was parked. So we could just put this into stored heading alignment, and that would just take a few minutes. However, I'm going to show you the full alignment procedure, just in case you ever find yourself in that position, because we have the initial position noted here in the knee board. So let's go ahead and give that a go. So if we move the INS to full GC align, it will actually automatically pop up the PP-IGI page on the UFC, and we can go ahead and enter our initial position information. We can see that not all of this is actually correct at present. So we want south, so I need to go Shift S to get south, and you can see now it gives us the correct kind of dots and whatnot for entering latitude. So we're going to go 5148894 as per the knee board, and enter that here. And then for west, it's going to be Shift 4 for W, and that's 5825927, and enter it into this window. That seems fine. Oh, it's flashing actually. It didn't like something about that. Oh, I needed the leading 0. That's the problem. Okay, we can go back into PP-IGI from the second menu page, and I need to make sure that I do west, and it was 0582597. Important to get the format correct. Okay, and we have an altitude of 250.6. So 250, I'll enter it into the height here. Is that wrong? Does that actually go in here? 250. No, it doesn't seem to want to take that. Very well. That might not be implemented as yet. But these are all correct now, and you can see that on the HUD, we actually have GC and the numbers coming down. So that is us in a full alignment. That will take approximately 4 minutes, but normally you could do stored heading. Let's go around and check that everything else that we need is on. Today it's a cold and rainy day here at Mount Pleasant, so we're going to go windshield heating, pitot heat, and engine heating on. We'll have all of those on. I'll turn up my lighting, although I don't think all of these are implemented yet. We're going to go ahead and we're going to uncage the standby attitude horizon. That's now done. We're going to go ahead and set takeoff trim by pressing and holding takeoff until the light illuminates and we get a voice message system caution.
Yaw rate.
That's takeoff trim set. We're going to arm our ejection seat by flipping that down. Anti-collision light goes on. Position lights go to full brightness. We'll leave formation and the vertical tail. And at this point we're just waiting for INS alignment, which is almost done. While we're doing that, let's go ahead and put our displays back to normal. I'm going to power up UHF 1, and I'll just leave it in guard for now. We'd now program our displays. If you had DTC, which unfortunately we don't have yet, this would all be done via the DTC, but we can do this manually. So I'm going to program up my left MPD. I want ADI, armament, and air-to-air radar, let's say. And I'm going to program up the nav master mode to show the ADI. Cancel that program. Right-hand side, I'm going to want HSI, 2s, and engine, let's say. And for nav master mode, it should be the HSI. Programming complete. And then down here at the MPCD, I'm going to want my TSD. I'm going to want 2s, and I'm going to want HSI. And for nav mode, I want the TSD. And finish programming. So now if I flip to nav master mode, my displays are all programmed. And I could use my my castle switch to flip between different pages there. TACAN today is 59 X-ray, so I can just enter 59 in the scratch pad and click it into the TACAN, and that's now programmed. In the next menu page, I have ILS as well. ILS here is 111.9. You don't need to enter the decimal. Pop that into ILS, and that's now also programmed. I'll go back to the first menu page. For today's flight, I want 450 as my low altitude warning. And for IFF, we're using code 5000 in mode 3. And back to the main page. And that is all programmed. You can see here GC is in OK on the HUD. That means that full alignment has been completed. I can now put my INS into nav master mode, and the system is now fully aligned and ready to go. At this stage, I would ask the ground crew to remove the wheel chocks.
Chief, remove the wheel chocks. Copy. Wheel chocks are now removed.
Cool, and I would also lower the flaps. You can see amber light means they're in transit, and then green light means flaps are down. We'll put taxi light on, and that is everything. I'm just going to do a quick scan of the cockpit, but I believe that all systems are ready to go. So at this point, all I would do is remove brake hold, and the aircraft will then start rolling. Nose wheel steering is on by default, so I can use my rudders immediately to steer. Actually, one last thing I like to do when I'm taxiing is if I go into the data page, I have my ground speed here. If I press this, it gets an asterisk, and the ground speed will be displayed in the HUD. That's quite a nice way of ensuring that you don't taxi too fast. Alright, so that's a complete startup for the pilot from the front seat in the F-15E Strike Eagle. Aircraft is now ready to taxi. Next time I'll show you the procedure from the back seat as the Wizzo. Okay, thank you very much for watching, everybody. I hope you all enjoyed that. If you haven't already, please subscribe, like, and comment. It's a really big help to me and to the channel. You also have the option of further supporting the channel by joining DeepHack's ground crew. Thank you very much to those of you who've already done so. It's a small monthly fee, approximately the same as the cost of a cup of coffee, and it really helps me in creating this content. The names of those who are already in the ground crew are on screen now. You've got some small benefits in that we have a Discord server that we share together, and we also occasionally fly together from time to time. So thank you all very much for watching. Fly safe, and I'll see you all next time.